Good morning, children. This is the video for chapter Light, Refraction on Plane Surfaces, lecture 1. Let us first know what is refraction. Refraction means when the light travels from one transparent medium to another, when both the transparent medium, they are having different optical densities, and if the light can pass through this type of two different transparent medium, then there is a change in the direction of the path of light. This phenomenon is called refraction. Refraction is a surface phenomenon. Why refraction takes place? Because the velocity of light is different in different optical densities. And this causes the deviation in its path. Okay, children? So you have understood that when light travels from one transparent medium to another transparent medium, refraction will take place. Now, two things can happen. Light can travel from rarer medium to denser medium, or it can happen just in the reverse way. It can enter from the denser medium and it can move to the rarer medium. Let us see what is happening. In the first case, when the light is traveling from rarer medium to denser medium. Okay, that means the refraction is taking place from rarer medium to denser medium. Now here you can see that two medium we have taken. One is air and another is glass. Now you know it very well that air is a rarer medium and glass is the denser medium. Okay, now AO is your incident ray, NM is the normal, and OB is the refracted ray. Okay, I is the angle of incidence, AON, that is I is the angle of incidence, and BOM, that is equals to angle of refraction, and it is denoted by R. Okay, you can see from the figure that when the light is traveling from rarer to denser medium, as in the denser medium, the velocity of light is less. The incident ray, when it will enter to the second, that is the glass medium, because of the velocity, less velocity in that glass medium, that ray will not go straight, it will just move towards the normal. It will move towards the normal. So that means what? That means angle I, that is angle of incidence, is greater than angle of refraction R in this case. Now let us see what is written here. In the figure above, light travels from rarer to denser medium. In denser medium, the velocity of the light is less, hence it moves towards the normal. Angle of incidence I is greater than angle of refraction R. Okay, now let us see in the second case what is happening. When the light is traveling from glass and it is entering to air medium, that means glass is the denser medium, air is the rarer medium. Now here, when the light will enter into the rarer medium from the denser medium, as in the rarer medium, the velocity of the light is more, hence it will move away from the normal. And here in this case, you can see that angle I is less than angle R. That means angle of incidence is less than angle of refraction. What is written? In the figure above, the light travels from denser to rarer medium. In rarer medium, the velocity of light is more, hence it moves away from the normal. So I is less than R. Am I clear? In the previous cases, we have seen that the angle of incidence is having a value which is not equal to 90 degree. But suppose the light ray is incident normally. What is the meaning of that? This is the medium. This is one air medium, and suppose this is glass medium, and this is the normal, and the light ray is incident in this line only. In this line only. Okay, the light ray is incident normally. That means it is just incidenting on the line of the normal only. It means that angle of I here is equals to 0. What is angle of I? Angle I is equals to the angle between the incident ray and the normal. Now here in this case, the incident ray incidenting normally. Okay, that means angle of incidence is 0 here. In that case, it will pass undeviated. You can see here, it is the refracted ray is also above the normal. That means angle R is also equals to 0. Angle I is equals to 0 in this case. Angle R is also equals to 0. Okay, angle I is 0 degree, angle R is also 0 degree. When ray of light incident normally, it passes through other medium undeviated. So in this case, angle of incidence is 0. Children, please remember that it is incidenting on the normal itself, above the normal. So there is the angle between the normal and the incident ray is 0. Am I clear? So it will pass undeviated. Now, laws of refraction, like laws of reflection. You have already read laws of reflection. Now, we will do laws of refraction. There are two laws. The first law is saying the incident ray, refracted ray, and the normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Second law, the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence I and the sine of angle of refraction R is constant for the pair of given media. Okay, so mathematically what we can say, sine I by sine R is equals to constant, which is denoted by mu. So if I am writing like that, mu 2, 1, it means that this is a constant which is known as refractive index, and this refractive index of the second medium with respect to first. Second medium with respect to first. Am I clear, children? So what we can say, the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium is defined as the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence in the first medium to the sine of angle of refraction in the second medium. I hope you have understood, children, and this refractive index and the second law is very, very important. Okay. Effect on speed v, frequency f, and wavelength lambda due to refraction of light. Let us see. When a ray of light moves from a rarer to a denser medium, its speed decreases, you know, and for that it will bend towards the normal. That also you know. The frequency f depends on the source of light. So it does not change with the medium. It is having no relationship with the medium. It is depending upon the source of light. Okay. Next is the speed of light v in a medium is related to its wavelength lambda and frequency f. Now I am talking about the speed of light v in a medium is related to wavelength lambda and frequency f as v is equals to f lambda. or lambda is equals to V by F. Lambda is the wavelength, V is the velocity, and F is the frequency. When light travels from rarer to a denser medium, its velocity decreases. Okay, and its wavelength decreases. Again, I am reading. When light travels from rarer to denser medium, its velocity decreases. Okay, and its wavelength decreases. When the light travels from denser to rarer medium, its velocity increases and wavelength increases. Okay, the frequency, however, remains unchanged as it depends on the source of light and not to the medium. Children, this slide is very, very important to know, to understand. When light travels from a rarer to a denser medium, its velocity decreases and its wavelength also decreases. Okay, from here you can see that velocity and wavelength, they are directly proportional. So if the velocity decreases, wavelength is also decreases, and if the velocity increases, wavelength is also increases, because F is remaining unchanged and it depends only on the source of light. It is not depending upon the medium. Okay, because of the change in the medium, its velocity changes and its wavelength changes, but frequency remain unchanged. Clear, children? Speed of light in different media, the relationship between refractive index and speed of light. The speed of light is maximum in vacuum and is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Please remember that the speed of the light is maximum in vacuum and which is equals to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. In air, it nearly same as that of vacuum and it is denoted by C. This is very important to know, children. Okay, the refractive index of a medium is defined as the ratio of the speed of the light in vacuum or air to the speed of the light in that medium. Okay, again what it is saying, the refractive index of a medium is defined as the ratio of the speed of the light in vacuum or air to the speed of the light in that medium. Okay, so mu is equals to speed of the light in vacuum or in air, that is given by C, and the speed of the light in the medium is given by V. So I can write mu is equals to C by V. C is the speed of the light in vacuum or air and speed of the light in the medium is given by V. Since mu is 1 in air or vacuum, the refractive index of any transparent medium is greater than 1. Okay, as the speed of the light in any medium is less than C. Am I clear? There is a chart given for the refractive indices of some common substances. You can see here vacuum, air, ice, water, and so many are given here. Diamond. Out of this, remember that vacuum and air, water, that is 1.33. For vacuum it is 1. Diamond it is 2.41. And rest you need not to learn all. Just go through it once. Okay. Now next, conditions for a light to pass undeviated on refraction. Following are the conditions for a light ray to travel undeviated when moving from one medium to other. One already I have explained. That is, when the incident ray is incidenting normally to the surface. When the angle of incidence at the boundary of the two medium is 0, which implies angle of incidence I is equals to 0 and angle of refraction R is also equals to 0. I already explained this to you. This also means that the incident ray and the refracted ray and the normal are represented by the same line. You can see this is your incident ray, this is your refracted ray, and the normal is also in the same line. So the incident ray is incidenting normally in the surface. This is the first condition. And when the refractive index of the medium 1 is same as medium 2, that is mu1 is equals to mu2. These are the two conditions when the light ray will pass undeviated after refraction. Relationship between wavelength in two medium. Suppose we are having two medium, one is rarer, another is denser, and a ray of light is passing from the rarer to denser medium. Then what will be the relationship between the wavelength in those two medium? Let us see. Say a ray of light with frequency f travels from air. In the air we are taking the speed of the light as c to a medium in which the speed of the light is v. Let the wavelength of the light in air be lambda and that in the medium be lambda dash. In air, f is equals to c by lambda and in medium f is equals to v by lambda dash. Now from where we are getting this? We know, children, lambda is equals to v by f. From there, f is equals to v by lambda. Now, in case of air, we have taken the speed of the light as c and the wavelength as lambda. So, we can write f is equals to c by lambda. And in case of the medium, where we have taken the speed of the light as v and the wavelength is lambda dash. So, we can write f is equals to v by lambda dash. We have written the same thing here. Okay. Now, as frequency does not change, we can write c by lambda is equal to v by lambda dash. From there, lambda dash is equals to v by c lambda. Now, you know, children, c by v is equals to mu, that is the refractive index. Refractive index is equal to speed of the light in air divided by the speed of the light in the particular medium. So, v by c is 1 by mu. Okay, now just put it here. Lambda is equals to, lambda dash is equals to lambda by mu. Okay, because v by c is equals to 1 by mu. Now, it is apparent when light passes from rarer to a denser medium in which refractive index is greater than 1, its wavelength decreases. That means lambda dash is less than lambda. And when it passes from denser to rarer medium, where mu is less than 1, then its wavelength increases. And in that case, lambda dash is greater than lambda. Actually, what it is saying? See, children, you know that lambda is proportional to v. You also know that mu is inversely proportional to v. So from there, we can say that mu is inversely proportional to lambda. Okay, now suppose you are having two medium. One is rarer medium, another medium that is a denser medium. And suppose in the rarer medium, the wavelength is lambda and in the denser medium wavelength is lambda dash. In rarer medium, the speed of the light is c and in denser medium the speed of the light is v. In rarer medium, refractive index is mu1 and denser medium refractive index is mu2. Okay, now from all these formulas, all this relationship, you can understand that mu1, if mu1 is greater than mu2, when mu1 is greater than mu2, okay, in that case, as mu and lambda is inversely proportional, then in that case, if mu1 is greater than mu2, in that case, lambda dash is greater than lambda. And just in the reverse case, when mu2 is greater than mu1, in that case, lambda is greater than lambda dash. Am I clear, children? Am I clear? Have you understood? Factors affecting the refractive index of a medium. What are the factors on which the refractive index of a medium depends? Refractive index of a medium depends on the following three factors. The first point is speed of light in medium. Less is the speed of the light in the medium is as compared to the speed in air, more will be its refractive index. Why it is so? Because you know mu is equals to c by v. So if the speed of the light is less in the medium, just inversely proportional, so refractive index will be more. Clear? So speed of the light in glass is 2.2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Then mu glass is 1.5. V water is 2.25 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Mu water is 1.33. Okay. Temperature. With the temperature, the speed of the light in a medium increases. If the speed of the light increases, as it is inversely proportional with the refractive index, so refractive index decreases. And wavelength and the color of the light. In air or vacuum, the speed of different color of light are same. This is a very, very important line. In vacuum, the speed of different color of light are same. In other medium, higher the wavelength, higher is the velocity, and lower is the refractive index. Just before this slide, I have shown you. Higher the wavelength, higher is the velocity, and lower is the refractive index. Thus, red light having higher wavelength will have lower refractive index as compared to the violet light having lower wavelength. Okay, children, you have to remember all these things. Principle of reversibility of the path of light. According to this principle, the path of a ray is reversible. Now, please see the figure. The line SS dash, this line SS dash, separates medium 1 and medium 2. A ray of light is incident at O at this point. AO is the incident ray and OB is the corresponding refracted ray. Okay, this is the corresponding refracted ray. Angle of incidence is I. Here, this is the angle of incidence I, and angle of refraction is R. The refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. We are writing like that only. Refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1, we are writing in this way, and then it is equals to sin I by sin R. Okay, this is your equation number 1. Now, if refraction is to take place from medium 2 to medium 1. Just reverse. Now OB is the incident ray and OA is the refracted ray. Okay, in that case, angle BO, suppose it is N dash. So BON dash is the angle of incidence and AON is the angle of refraction. Then the refractive index of medium 1 with respect to medium 2, then we will write in this way. It will be sin R by sin I. Okay, because in that case R is equals to angle of incidence. When the light ray is passing from medium 2 to medium 1, then that R is becoming angle of incidence and I is becoming angle of refraction. So mu 1 with respect to 2, it is written like sin R by sin I. So let it be equation number 2. Now just multiply this 2. What we are getting, sin I by sin R into sin R by sin I is equals to 1. So what I am getting, mu 2 1 and mu 1 2 is equals to 1. Okay, or from here we can write mu 1 2 is equals to 1 by mu 2 1, or mu 2 1 is equals to mu 1 1 by mu 1 2. Experimental verification of the law of refraction. Now actually this is the practical way of verifying law of refraction. This practical we are doing in the lab, but let me just explain it to you here, how we are verifying law of refraction with the help of this experiment. Okay, please see the figure first. A rectangular glass block is placed over a white sheet on a drawing board and its boundary lines are drawn as P, Q, R, S. Am I clear? Then remove that glass block and choose any point O in the line, on the line PQ. See, this is the point O. Any point O. Choose a point O in the line, on the line PQ. Nearly in the middle of the line PQ. Okay. And the normal NOM is drawn. Am I clear? Next, a line AO is drawn at a desired angle of incidence. That means from the normal only you have to calculate, you have to see that which angle you want to take. That means suppose you are taking 40 degree, so angle of incidence is 40 degree. So this angle should be 40 degree. This angle should be 40 degree. Suppose you want to take 40 degree. From 90 degree, just calculate and draw a line where the 40 degree is coming. So it is giving you angle I is equals to 40 degree. Clear? Now again, the block is replaced exactly on the boundary PQRS. Okay. After drawing the line with the angle I is 40 degree, again you place the rectangular glass block PQRS just over the line. Two pins are fixed vertically at points A and B on the line AO. Now this is the line AO that you have taken. Now in that line you have fixed two pins in point A and point B. You can see that those points. Okay, two pins are fixed vertically at point A and B on the line AO about 5 centimeter apart. Okay, pins A and B are looked at from the side, keeping the eyes close to the drawing board. Two more pins. Now you have to place your eyes here, and from here, from the other side of the glass block, that is RS side, please fix your eyes, and then two more pins C and D. This is C and this is D, are fixed vertically on the side RS that I told you at the beginning only, so that A, B, C, and D appear to be in the straight line. Am I clear? From the side RS, you have to see and you have to fix two pins C and D on the side RS, so that it should appear that A, B, C, D all are falling in a straight line. The pins are removed and the perforations are marked with pencil. Okay, now remove the pins and the perforation marks that you are getting, that mark them with a pencil. Now C and D are joined and it is extended to meet the RS line at point B. Okay, and again B and O are also joined. So we are getting A, O, B and C. This is the path of light. Angle AON, this angle is the angle of incidence I, and angle BOM, this angle is the angle of refraction R. Now both the angle has to be measured accurately. Then you have to find out the ratio of sin I by sin R. Now how to get that ratio, sin I and sin R value, how we will get that? What you have to do, you have to draw a circle from the point O, which is cutting the line AO at point D. You can see here at point D, and cutting the line OB at point E. Now from D, draw a perpendicular which is meeting MN at point F, and from E, draw perpendicular which is meeting MN line at G. Okay, now this angle, the angle DOF, if I want to take the sine of I, this is I angle. So if I want to take the sine of I, you know that sine theta is equals to P by H. So if I want to find out sine of I, it is equals to P by H. Now perpendicular here is equals to DF, and H is equals to DO. Similarly, sin R is equals to P by H. P is EG GE by OE. Okay, so now you have to do sin I by sin R. It is equals to DF by DO into EO by GE. E. Okay, now DO and EO, they are the radius of the circle and they are same. So DO and EO will get cancelled. So what we are getting, sin I by sin R is equals to DF by GE. Okay, DF by GE. Now measure DF and GE. Okay, with the help of a scale. That will give you the value of sin I by sin R. Now observation for different angles of incident are recorded. Now you have to do the same experiment with by taking the incident angle a different one than 40 degree, because I have shown you the experiment with the 40 degree. So you will get a particular value for sin I by sin R. Now change the angle of incidence and you will get another value for sin I by sin R. Okay, and you know that sin I by sin R is equals to refractive index mu, and that actually you want to find out. And in all the cases, if we'll change the angle of incidence also, then in all the cases, the value of sin I by sin R should be the same value. It should be the same value. Nearly equal to same. Okay, nearly equal to same. So, this is how we are calculating the refractive index. Okay, and if in all the cases mu is nearly coming equal, then it is proving the law of refraction. See here, point 11, what is written? Observations for different angles of incidence are recorded. In the format as shown in the adjacent figure, it will observe that for any pair of I and R, the ratio of sin I by sin R is constant. For any pair, that means if you change the incident angle, then you will get a different value for sin I by sin R. And for all the cases, all the different angle of incidence, the value of sin I by sin R should be a constant 1, which is the refractive index of the material of the glass block. Now you see here, this is the table like that. You have to calculate. The first one is angle I, that is that you are changing the angle of incidence according to you are taking, according to your wish you are taking the angle of incidence, and as you will change the angle of incidence, your everything will get changed. Your R value will get changed, your sin I value will get changed, sin R will be changed, sin I by sin R will be changed, and mu value should come equal or constant for all the cases, 40 degree, 50 degree, 60 degree, 70 degree, 80 degree. Okay, after getting all the values, you have to find out the average of that. Refraction of light through a rectangular glass block. PQRS is the outline of a rectangular glass slab. A ray of light AO, this light, falls on the surface PQ. NOM is the normal at O. NOM is the normal at O. OB is the path of light through the glass slab. This line OB, this one, is the path of light through the glass slab, and BC is the path of light as it emerges from the glass slab to air. This is the BC line. So AO line is known as incident ray, OB is known as refracted ray, and BC is known as emergent ray. Okay, N1BM1, N1BM1, this one is the normal at point B. The ray OB, you can see here, ray OB moves towards the normal. Why? Because the light ray is traveling from air to glass medium, that means it is traveling from rarer to denser medium. So it moves towards the normal. But when again it is coming out from the glass block to air, then this BC line is moving away from the normal because it is moving out from denser medium to rarer medium. Okay, angle of incidence is I. This is your angle of incidence I. Now this is your angle of refraction R, and this angle is your angle of emergence E. This is your angle of emergence E. In view of the reversibility of the light path, angle I is always equal to angle E. Angle I is equals to angle E. Therefore, BC is parallel to AO. Please remember, children, BC is parallel to AO. Angle I is equals to angle E. Next, a very important term, lateral displacement. Please see the figure. Incident ray and the emergent ray are parallel, but there is a lateral shift of the emergent ray from the incident ray. See here, incident ray AO and emergent ray BC both are parallel, but they are not in the same line. There is a lateral shift of the emergent ray from the incident ray. Had there been no refraction, suppose there is no refraction taking place, the direction of the incident ray would have been AOD. Suppose no refraction is taking place, so the AO line should pass through this dotted line. That means it pass through this OD line. But we are seeing that it is not passing through OD line. There is a shift. Okay, the lateral displacement may be found from the perpendicular distance between the line AOD and BC. How much is the shift? That distance between the line AOD and BC, this line, this distance is known as lateral displacement. How much it displaced from its original path. Okay? Am I clear? It is the perpendicular distance between the line AOD and emergent ray BC. The lateral displacement depends on three things: thickness of the block, angle of incidence, and the refractive index of the medium. Am I clear? This diagram is also important and the definition is also important. This is the end of lecture 1. In the next lecture, we shall discuss the diffraction of light through prism.